Well, I met Blake. I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah.
Y'all, Blake Lively's squeaky clean image is officially falling apart. For years, she's been Hollywood's golden girl. But let's be real, this was nepotism at its finest.
I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
Behind the scenes, Blake has never really gotten along with her co-stars, constantly stirring up drama and fighting to dominate the spotlight.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
And now, she's finally blown her cover by dragging Justin Baldoni, and let's just say the receipts are piling up fast.
How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
Her rap sheet is literally longer than her career, but every time her nasty personality threatened to surface, someone, whether it was her parents, Ryan Reynolds, or her powerful connections, swooped in to bury the truth. Well, not anymore. Let's get into every celeb who saw through her act long before the rest of us did. And if there's one celebrity who knows firsthand just how messy Blake Lively can be, it's Scarlett Johansson. Because let's be real, Scarlett's marriage to Ryan Reynolds didn't just end, it was wrecked by Blake. The whispers about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' relationship have been swirling for years, and if anyone knows the truth, it's likely Scarlett Johansson. Before Blake, there was Scarlett. Scarlett and Ryan seemed like the perfect couple when they married in 2008, but by 2010, things had soured. Intriguingly, 2010 was also the year Blake and Ryan filmed Green Lantern together. Onlookers noticed a definite spark between them. Lots of flirting, giggling, and a little too much physical contact. Both were in relationships at the time. Blake was with Penn Badgley, and Ryan was still married to Scarlett. By the time the Green Lantern press tour rolled around, it was obvious something was up. Even though Blake and Ryan insisted they were just friends, they were spending a suspicious amount of time alone together.
Everyone gains 10 points next to her. You go out, no, that's all you get today, though. That's it.
I know, I can't believe you.
That's it. No, just that, yeah,
off
no,
camera,
yeah.
not so nice.
Ryan himself even admitted that he knew he had crossed a line. And wouldn't you know it, just 3 months after that press tour, Blake suddenly dumped Penn, and Ryan announced his split from Scarlett in the very same month. Coincidence? Hollywood doesn't believe in coincidences. Scarlett never outright called Blake a homewrecker, but she's definitely hinted at it. In one interview, she talked about how tough it is to be with a fellow actor, saying, "The logistics of being with another actor are challenging, especially when two people's careers are going at the same rate. Or, even if one person is more successful than the other, that also proves challenging." She also admitted that career competition can destroy relationships, which, let's be real, sounds exactly like what happened with her and Ryan. And this is not just speculation because a source once spilled that Ryan was a control freak. When he wanted her there, he expected her to drop everything and come to him. And if you've been keeping up with the drama surrounding It Ends With Us and how Ryan allegedly rewrote parts of the script, you already know this man loves to have the final say in his partner's career. While Blake and Ryan try to act like their romance started after their breakups, the timeline says otherwise.
After Green Lantern had come and gone and all that stuff, and we were both single, we went on a double date she was on a date with another guy and I was on a date with another girl, and that was the most awkward date for their respective part because we were just like fireworks coming across the...
Sources told the Daily Mail that Reynolds and Lively's butterflies began while filming Green Lantern. A server reportedly caught the co-stars getting close over dinner before he and Johansson split. It was just the two of them, and they were laughing and flirting, the spy said. It looked like a date. If you didn't know who they were, you would definitely assume they were a couple. In December 2010, just weeks after Ryan's split was announced, and a writer for Glamour and Vice, Kat Marnell, straight up exposed them in a now-deleted tweet saying, "Fun fact, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds hooked up when RR was still married to ScarJo, and holed up in a NOLA hotel room during the Green Lantern, and Us Weekly had discovered this, and their beauty editor would tell us this at events and about how RR and BL Teams' threats squashed the story." Oh, and guess where Green Lantern was filmed? New Orleans. So yeah, the math is mathing. Nepo Baby is really coddled, don't you think? Not to mention, Scarlett even hinted that Ryan didn't have the time to invest in their family. "We have no time for dates. We work and then go home, and I, anyway, just stare at the wall for a few hours before I go to sleep. Like in any profession, it's difficult. You want to make sure that you have time to invest in your family. It's a challenge, but it's worth it." At least now we know where Ryan's time allegedly went. And while Scarlett has never publicly confronted Blake, Hollywood insiders say there's been lingering tension for years. The two actresses intentionally avoid each other, never attending the same events or even acknowledging each other's existence. And honestly, that speaks volumes. And this isn't the only time Blake has stirred up drama in Hollywood, because Scarlett isn't the only celebrity who's had a problem with her. Let's talk about other stars who warned us about Blake Lively. The freshest add to this list is someone you never saw coming: Taylor Swift. Yes, now that the tide of the Mean Girls is going against them, Taylor has, at least publicly, decided to step away from the drama to protect her reputation. A bombshell article just dropped in the Daily Mail, written by none other than James Fuschka, a top entertainment writer. Now, Fuschka doesn't just write anything.
She will protect Taylor Swift's reputation by any means necessary, and they fold, okay? The editors, the writers, journalists, when she says put something in the mail, it gets done. And I'm not saying that part allegedly. That is a fickety fact.
These kinds of articles are often carefully orchestrated, with PR teams planting stories to shape public perception. And this one feels loaded. According to Fuschka, Taylor Swift is reportedly taking a step back from Blake Lively. She apparently feels used as an intimidation tactic in a lawsuit Blake is embroiled in with Justin Baldoni, a lawsuit Taylor never wanted anything to do with.
Taylor Swift is taking a step back from her friendship with Blake Lively after feeling like she was used as an intimidation tactic by the actress in a lawsuit that she never wanted to be embroiled in.
Ouch! That's not just a little distance, that's a full-blown retreat. Think about it. Taylor Swift, queen of the carefully crafted image. She's not going to distance herself from a friend lightly. This suggests something big is going to go down, something that made Taylor think this will harm her brand in the long run. But what exactly happened? That's the million-dollar question.
Her friends also think that Blake's "I'm Khaleesi and like her, I happen to have dragons" text to Justin was uncool and unnecessary because she was essentially used as an intimidation tactic.
And while the Daily Mail article gives us a glimpse, I think there's more to this story. Way more. Is Taylor feeling like she was used as a pawn in some kind of power play? Did Blake try to leverage their friendship to influence the lawsuit? Did Taylor feel pressured to take a side she wasn't comfortable with? These are all possibilities. For years, rumors have swirled that Blake Lively is a classic Big B to her co-stars, constantly trying to outshine them and making their experience on set a nightmare. And Anna Kendrick, she got the full Blake Lively treatment. When Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively teamed up for A Simple Favor, everyone expected them to have the perfect on-screen chemistry. But behind the scenes, it was a disaster. According to an insider from Lionsgate, tensions between Anna and Blake were so bad that the studio had to step in and force them to pretend they liked each other. One producer even described the set as unbearable because the two actresses were constantly at odds, and the reason being Blake's obsession with outshining Anna. So Anna fought fire with fire and reportedly demanded more promotion than Blake, and even insisted that her cleavage be photoshopped bigger than Blake's on the movie poster, because apparently the battle wasn't just about screen time, but about who looked better doing it. And by the time filming wrapped up, they weren't even speaking.
How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
But things didn't cool down after the camera stopped rolling. On the press tour, it became painfully obvious that the tension hadn't disappeared. Anna made a very shady comment in an interview saying,
I met Blake, I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah.
And during a BuzzFeed interview, Anna straight up admitted, "That was the day I decided I hated you. We were all talking trash about you." Sure, she tried to play it off as a joke, but considering the history, it didn't sound like one.
I'm the reason she gets out of bed in the morning.
And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see. So,
Yeah.
so I learned a lot from her.
Yeah.
And then there's Henry Golding, who got caught in the middle of all this drama. While he never directly called out Blake, his interviews say plenty without saying much at all. Henry admitted he was extremely nervous working with Blake and Anna, saying the set was so small that it was hard to escape the tension. He even questioned if he belonged there, saying, "There were certain days where I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here?" But what really raised eyebrows was when he was asked about the rumored feud between Anna and Blake. Instead of confidently shutting it down, Henry looked genuinely uncomfortable, giving an answer so awkward that people instantly suspected he was hiding something.
Those two girls are 110% on and off the camera, and that's, I've heard, can be sometimes fleeting or rather rare in the industry.
It doesn't take a genius to read between the lines. He clearly saw something on set that made him terrified to speak out. And let's not forget, the drama was so intense that even after all these years, Anna Kendrick hinted that she muted Blake Lively on Instagram. Now imagine having to go back and film a sequel with someone you can't even stand to follow online. If there's one thing Blake Lively can't stand, it's sharing the spotlight. And nowhere was that more obvious than on the Gossip Girl press tours. From the very start, Blake made it crystal clear that she wanted to be the center of attention. And let's be real, it wasn't because of her talent. She's a full-fledged Nepo baby who was handed opportunities on a silver platter, and she knew exactly how to milk that privilege for all it was worth. But when she realized she wasn't the only star of the show, things got messy. Leighton Meester, who actually worked her way up in the industry, was equally beloved by fans and critics. And that did not sit well with Blake.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
Throughout the Gossip Girl press tours, Blake repeatedly tried to position herself as the it girl, while subtly taking jabs at Leighton. At first it was disguised as playful banter, but over time the so-called jokes got meaner and meaner. At one time she even had the galls to call her co-stars monkeys, and everyone had to awkwardly giggle through it.
I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
And behind the scenes, it was even worse. Rumors circulated that Blake hated when Leighton got as much attention as she did, and when Leighton's wardrobe budget was increased, Blake completely lost it, despite already having plenty of designer looks. Apparently, she believed that because she had the most success outside of Gossip Girl, she should automatically be the main focus. Even the show's executive producer, Joshua Safran, later confirmed that Blake and Leighton weren't actually friends. He stated, Blake and Leighton were not friends. They were friendly, but not like Serena and Blair. And then there's Penn Badgley. Penn and Blake were in a relationship while filming Gossip Girl, but after they broke up, Penn's life spiraled into a dark place. He later revealed that filming with Blake for years, as exes, was an endurance test. At the time, most people just saw it as an awkward breakup, but in hindsight, it's obvious Penn was warning us. He was struggling, but Blake, she didn't care. She was too focused on making herself look good, like when she would bring up funny stories about their relationship that were always designed to make her look better than him. Even Penn's wife later confirmed that when she met him, he was completely lost. He described his life after Gossip Girl as a trash bag full of broken pieces. Now, if Penn and Leighton both had nothing but exhausting experiences working alongside Blake, what does that tell you? Maybe they weren't shading her. Maybe they were warning us all along. Armie Hammer tried to keep it diplomatic, but his awkward laugh and carefully chosen words made it clear. Working with Blake Lively was a nightmare. When he was asked about the biggest diva on the Gossip Girl set, he didn't name names, but he did admit the experience was so miserable that he couldn't even finish filming his episodes. Let me just say that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film. And when Andy Cohen pressed him, he folded immediately. The second he mentioned Blake's name, Chelsea Handler jumped in with the obvious. Sounds like she was the problem. And Andy, he fully agreed. Armie tried to backtrack, but the damage was done. Nobody dodges a question that hard unless there's something to hide. And let's be real, he's not the first person to struggle working with Blake. We've already heard about her Gossip Girl co-stars, Leighton Meester and Penn Badgley, barely tolerating her. And now we find out guest stars couldn't even make it through their episodes? That says everything.
She and her co-star, a guy named Justin Baldoni, actually sort of maybe hate each other, and this is also coming out because of some leaks that have drawn attention to this apparent rift. TMZ reported that Blake Lively has told people that there were multiple reasons that Justin Baldoni made her feel uncomfortable.
Oh, but this is where it gets interesting. Blake's fans love to act like she's some sweet, wholesome Hollywood darling. But the receipts are piling up, and this time, it's coming straight from the journalists who have dealt with her off script. Kirsty Flaw, a seasoned Norwegian journalist, once sat down with Blake and Parker Posey for a promo interview. Instead of professionalism, she got straight-up high school mean girl treatment. Flaw congratulated Blake on her pregnancy, which Blake had publicly announced, mind you. And instead of a simple thank you, she said,
"First of all, congrats on your little bump."
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
There was no bump. Blake made a joke about a non-existent pregnancy to a journalist on camera, who later revealed she struggled to conceive. That's not girl boss energy, that's just cruel. And it didn't stop there. Throughout her interview, Blake ignored Flaw, turned her body away, and acted like she wasn't even in the room. It was so bad that Flaw admitted the experience almost made her quit journalism altogether.
Working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would. I love Jesse's suits and how
That's what I'm saying. His wardrobe was beautiful.
But here's where it gets juicy. Why is this interview resurfacing now 8 years later? Well, Flaw didn't just wake up one day and decide to drag Blake. She actually kept quiet all these years, until another journalist slid into her DMs with a story that sounded way too familiar. I have a degree in journalism. I had such a visceral reaction to watching this Blake Lively interview, it made me want to vomit. Honestly, kudos to the interviewer for remaining professional. I think I would have walked out. It's such a bully behavior to sit and have a conversation on the side. You know their PR people are there watching the whole thing. I'm wondering why it's just coming out now. Was it buried to save face? The actresses should be embarrassed. So, what do you think? With all these receipts stacking up, it's starting to look like Blake Lively's sweetheart persona is just a well-polished Hollywood illusion. From co-stars to journalists, the people who've worked with her aren't exactly singing her praises. Did these celebrities actually warn us about Blake all along? Or is this just another case of Hollywood drama? Well, while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest tea.